Imagine finding out your husband never actually got the vasectomy he told you he had after you're already pregnant. Well, that's just one of the absolutely deranged stories I've got for you guys today. Today, I'm going to be finally decorating my farm with some giant flowers, and if there's enough time, I might even start working on my harbour. Alright, let's just get straight into the first story. I pretended to have a vasectomy. 2 years later, my wife is pregnant. Hello Reddit. I've been a long time lurker, but I've never posted before. I use Reddit quite frequently, although my wife doesn't really like it. She knows my normal account, so I'm using a throwaway to be cautious. I'm currently going through a horrible dilemma, and I'm so deep into the situation that I genuinely have no idea what to do. My wife and I have been married for 9 years, and we have 2 children together. We aren't planning on having any more children. Well, my wife isn't planning on having any more. I always wanted at least 5 children, whereas she only wanted 1 child, or possibly none at all. That doesn't take away from the fact that she's a great mother, it's just always been her preference. Before getting married, we reached something of a compromise, and agreed that we might have 2 or 3 children. I'm still completely set on having 3 though. After our first 2 children, my wife decided she doesn't want any more. I just want to say, saying, well, my wife doesn't plan on having any more children is already creepy in itself. Just the way he says that already immediately tells you where the story's going. How is this horse here? Anyway, I'll continue. It had been 5 years since we had our first 2 children, when around 2 years ago, my wife became completely determined that I should have a vasectomy. I wasn't comfortable with the idea, so I initially refused, but then it became the central issue in many of our arguments. We dated for 5 years before getting married, meaning that we had been together for 12 years when this had happened. We've now been together for 14 years. Those 12 years had been such lovely times, and I didn't want our relationship to end over this, especially since we already had children together. So after months of arguing, I finally agreed to get a vasectomy. Yeah, I think we all know where the story's going now. Fast forward 2 years, and my wife is now pregnant. She has absolutely no idea how this could have happened, but I do. The truth is, I never got the vasectomy. 2 years ago, I only pretended to have it done. I told my wife that somebody else had driven me to the appointment, and I took an entire week off of work so that I could pretend that I was recovering from the procedure. I'm sorry, this is absolutely disgusting. Who in their right mind even considers lying about a vasectomy to your own wife? How are you even looking at your wife in the face every day whilst you're recovering from your fake vasectomy and thinking this is a better idea than having an honest conversation with the person I married? After pretending to have the procedure, I tried to be careful whenever my wife and I had sex by pulling out, but clearly that didn't work. Now my wife is furious and I still haven't told her the truth. Instead, I told her that the vasectomy must have failed. Who's shocked? It didn't work. And your wife only agreed to you pulling out rather than using other contraception because she thought you were infertile. And let's be real, nobody's shocked she's pregnant now. But don't worry guys, somehow this story gets even worse. My wife is now arranging appointments with lawyers because she wants to sue the medical practice where she believes I received the vasectomy. Problem is that if the practice checks its records, those records will prove that I never had the procedure. And there we go. I can't believe he's still asking on this Reddit post what to do. Obviously, you just tell her. There's no clever solution remaining. There's no more lies you can make up. There's no more combination of words you can pull out of a hat to make the clinic records suddenly show you had a vasectomy. Oh, but wait, guys. I actually lied. The story still gets worse. My wife is also considering having an abortion, and I'm trying to convince her to drop the entire situation. If anything, I think this child is a miracle. What should I do now? I'm worried that if I tell her the truth, she'll leave me, and I don't want to lose her. She's the love of my life, and I don't know what I'd do without her. I know this is my fault, but please help me understand how I should approach this. How do I tell her the truth? Calling this baby a miracle is such a ridiculous way to frame what happened. This was literally the most likely outcome. He was still fertile and tricked his wife into believing they could still have safe sex. And he knew his wife didn't want another child, so he took away her ability to make a decision about her own body. I mean, there's honestly no good advice to give here. He just needs to tell his wife what really happened and just accept whatever happens next. Maybe his wife leaves him, maybe she speaks to the lawyer, maybe she gets an abortion. But whatever the outcome is, he has to deal with it, and that's entirely his own fault. You can tell he knows how serious this lie is, which is why he's scared that his wife's going to leave him in the first place. But if he really cared about his wife and family, let's be real, he just wouldn't have lied about a situation like this in the first place. And after 2 years of lying, she deserves to know the truth, and he's an awful husband. Okay, I think I've finally finished the first flower. That took a long time and a few tries, but I think I like the design. I think I'm just going to try and build a few more of these while we get into the next few stories. Okay, this next one's pretty short, but I just find it too funny not to include. Am I the arsehole? I got mad at my boyfriend for cheating in video games. I've been dating my boyfriend for a few months now. I'm in my late 20s and he's in his 30s. We were having dinner when we started talking about video games. Says he plays games like Fortnite and Call of Duty. I joked that my aim is terrible on console and he casually replied that is why he uses aimbot and wall hacks. In his 30s, by the way, a fully grown man downloading cheats because he can't accept that he's bad at Fortnite. So I told him how frustrating it is when people use cheats and ruin multiplayer games for everyone else. And he asked why I was getting so defensive over how he plays video games. So I told him it was loser behavior. The rest of the dinner was incredibly awkward, and I think we both realized we probably wouldn't be seeing each other again. Am I the arsehole? Maybe we both suck, and it's better that we don't date or play games together. I don't think this user is the arsehole at all. Calling it loser behavior is the most accurate statement ever. Cheating in a single player game affects nobody, I get it. But using aimbot against real players and cheating in an online game means your enjoyment comes from directly ruining others. And it's not just about Fortnite. I guess it shows a mentality. So rather than being bad at something, practicing, slowly improving, he immediately takes the easiest shortcut available, and even when that shortcut is just unfair to everybody else. So I think this is more about him than just the cheating in the games. Obviously, cheating in Call of Duty and Fortnite doesn't mean he cheats in every area of life, but small actions still can reveal someone's character. Because when someone's comfortable cheating to appear better than they really are, while ruining everyone else's experiences, that may carry some sort of selfish attitude into more important situations. So breaking up with someone over video game cheats sounds ridiculous, I guess, until you realize she sort of isn't breaking up with him just over a game. And honestly, she probably saved herself a lot of time with this one. Okay, with the second flower done, I'm pretty sure I love this design now. I'm just going to keep repeating it for a little bit. So this next one is from r/Am I the Devil? The title is, My friend is getting an abortion and I'm heartbroken. My friend is getting an abortion, refuses to change her mind, and I feel powerless to stop her. I've begged her to change her mind and she won't. For some context, my friend and I are both 21-year-old women, and we've been best friends for the last 12 years. We've been through a lot of up and downs in life, and have experienced pretty much everything together, and this girl has legitimately saved my life before, and I'm grateful to her beyond words. But in the last few years, things have changed. About 3 years ago, she became pregnant by a guy who she was in a long, abusive, long-distance relationship with. I've been pro-life for as long as I can remember, but my views have definitely become much more rigid and less lenient in the last few years. In the past, I probably would have argued that abortion was permissible in situations involving rape or abuse, but my point of view has changed drastically, and I don't see it that way anymore. I think that life is absolutely precious and should be protected at any cost, and the story I'm about to tell you is a large part of the reason why. I can't lie, this is already confusing me. She's saying this story is one of the reasons that her views became more extreme, but the first pregnancy happened while her child was escaping an abusive relationship. Surely that situation would make you understand why someone might need to get an abortion rather than convincing you that nobody should have it. Anyway, let's just continue. Her decision to have an abortion a few years ago deeply hurt me. At the same time, because she was escaping abuse, I justified it for that reason. I feel like that was my way of coping with things so they didn't hurt me as much. I thought it would be a learning experience for her. I thought that she would deeply regret the decision and learn from her mistakes. Sorry, what? Learning from her mistakes. She thought her friend would deeply regret escaping an abusive relationship and making this decision to get an abortion from who she was by. And she's calling it a learning experience. Also, the focus is on how much her friend's abortion hurt her. Not the person who got pregnant, but her. Fast forward a few years, and she's now in a healthy relationship with a guy she loves very much. She became pregnant about a month ago, and she did absolutely nothing to prevent it. She used no form of contraception whatsoever and became pregnant out of sheer irresponsibility. Despite this, it came as a huge shock to her, and now she's telling me she has to make the decision to kill her baby. The reasons she feels like she needs to make this decision are the classic brainwashed arguments, such as, I'm still so young, I have so much I want to do with my life, I need to go to university, I need to travel, my life will be over if I have a child, blah blah blah. Despite me telling her that there are a million different ways she can overcome those challenges, and that the love she will feel for a child will supersede any struggle, she still feels like murder is a choice she has to make. I love how she says there are a million different ways to overcome these problems, but then names none of them. You're going to pay for the child? Are you going to babysit for it every day while your friend's at university learning so she can actually get a job and pay for stuff herself? Is she providing somewhere for them to live? And I'm sorry, brainwashed arguments and then saying blah, blah, blah. The fact is, she's 21. She's very young. She has so much of her life ahead of her. She has her 20s ahead of her. She does need to go to uni if she wants to. She wants to travel. And her life will practically be over if she does have the child. Those are all just completely valid reasons to not become a parent at 21 years old. Even worse, she is drinking and smoking while pregnant because she's going to get rid of it anyway. This has absolutely crushed me. It has made me so incredibly depressed and heartbroken that I've had a hard time sleeping, eating, and going to work. I feel like I'm preemptively mourning a loss that hasn't even happened yet. But regardless of my pleas for her to change her mind, nothing seems to able to stop her. Her mind is dead set on killing her baby, and I'm completely powerless to stop this. yeah, you are powerless to stop it because you're not the one who's pregnant. She's saying this like it's some huge injustice that she doesn't get the final vote over her friend's decision to have a baby or over her friend's decision to have control over their body. I mean, I guess you're allowed to feel upset and you're allowed to disagree with the decision, but repeatedly begging someone to continue over pregnancy they don't want to isn't really supporting them. At this point, you're literally just pressuring them. Let's continue. What's also really challenging is that the majority of people are completely brainwashed by pro-choice propaganda. Because of that, they would see my heartbroken response to the news as a massive overreaction. I love my friend so incredibly much, but at the same time, it's really hard for me to reconcile with the fact that she's making an incredibly selfish and horrible decision. She doesn't realize the gravity of her choice. It rips my heart into shreds that she sees it as a different opinion rather than ending of life. She seems to have absolutely no remorse or regret whatsoever, not only for her previous abortion, but also for the choice she's about to make. I feel like my hands are tied and I'm screaming into the void. I don't even know what can be done anymore. So, according to her, anyone who disagrees with her opinion is brainwashed, her friend's been brainwashed, everyone's been brainwashed, anyone who thinks she's overreacting has been brainwashed. I'm a new Christian, but putting all religious views aside, I still think that life is incredibly precious, and I always have. My friend is one of those new age spiritual people who identifies as conservative in many ways, but also seems to be an incredibly hypothetical. I really don't know what to do or whether there's anything that can be done. I pray non-stop. I see the baby in her womb as an extension of her and as a child she created with the man she loves, because that's exactly what it is. She doesn't even consider it as a baby yet. My heart is honestly shattered into a million little pieces. I feel sick to my stomach every time I think about it. I can't stop crying and my heart hurts so much. I forgave her for her first abortion because I think forgiveness is so important, and that's what Jesus would do. Sorry, she forgave her. She escapes an abusive relationship which had nothing to do with her. What do you mean you had to forgive her? I don't get that at all. This is just unbelievably patronizing. I don't want to cut someone off I've been friends with for more than half of my life over something like this, but at the same time, watching her go through with all of this is going to cause me an incredibly large amount of pain. Somebody please help me. Even if nothing can be done, I just want some sort of advice or solace. I am so hurt. This entire post is honestly so unbelievable to me. Every paragraph is just about her, not the person who's pregnant. It's all about me. I'm heartbroken. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't work. I forgave her. I'm going to be in so much pain watching her do it. Meanwhile, the friend is the one who would actually have to experience the pregnancy, the childbirth, and potentially spending the rest of her life raising a child that she can't support. The poster describes her friend as selfish while demanding that she sacrifices her education and travel plans and her entire future just to make her feel more morally comfortable, not the person having the baby. I don't understand how you can act this entitled over someone else's baby. But honestly, I think ending the friendship might be the best. Just for the sake of her friend. Not to punish the friend for having the abortion, but just because she deserves friends who she can actually trust during vulnerable situations without secretly being judged, pressured, and being viewed as someone who requires forgiveness. And no matter how many times she says she's heartbroken, It's not about her. It's not her decision. Okay, on to the next one. My best friend used my pictures to catfish a man for 5 years. My best friend and I, who I'm going to call Maggie, met during our first year of university. We became extremely close, and for the past 2 years, we've also been living together. Back in 2015, Maggie travelled a couple of states away for spring break. While she was there, she matched with a guy on Tinder, who I'll call Adam. When she returned, she immediately started telling me about how incredible he was. Apparently, they had gone out for dinner once, and had been speaking constantly ever since. At least, that was the story she told me. She showed me one picture of him, and over the next 5 years, he basically became her entire world. She was constantly checking her phone. If he took too long to reply, she would panic. She would sometimes look through his social media, see him standing next to another woman, and then come crying to me because she thought he might be losing interest. I mean, this is already just so disturbing. She spent 5 years asking her best friend for relationship advice about a man who she's catfishing using her best friend's face with. Imagine unknowingly helping someone maintain a fake relationship when you're technically the one, I guess, in the relationship. I asked her several times why they had never met again. She always says that they were both too busy, or the fact that neither of them could afford the journey. I even offered to let Adam stay in our apartment so they could finally meet without paying for a hotel. He had sent her presents over the years and flowers for every Valentine's Day. From everything that I knew, they were effectively in a serious long-distance relationship. Then one day, Maggie picked up an extra shift at work. While she was gone, somebody knocked on our door. I opened it and saw a man standing outside. Before I could even ask who he was, he stepped forwards, picked me up, and hugged me. He said, "I thought you were working. I was hoping your roommate would be here so I could surprise you when you got back." I immediately pulled away and told him that I had no idea what he was talking about. He looked completely confused and said, "Maggie?" I told him no, Maggie was my roommate. That was when I suddenly recognized him from the one picture that Maggie had shown me years earlier. I asked, "Wait, are you Adam?" He slowly said, "Yes." At this point, I still had not understood what was happening. I actually got excited and told him that Maggie was going to lose her mind when she saw that he had travelled all this way to surprise her. But his expression completely changed. He asked why I was talking about Maggie as though she was another person. I told him, "Because I'm not Maggie. I'm Summer. Maggie is my roommate." He stared at me for a few seconds and then said, "Holy fuck." At this point, there isn't even any time to invent another excuse to fix this. The entire 5-year lie has just physically appeared inside of her apartment. Imagine being in Adam's position here. He thinks he's just surprised his long-distance girlfriend. Spent all this money to travel there, done such a nice thing for her, and then she opens the door looking exactly like all the photographs, and then tells her she has no idea who he actually is. Adam then explained that for the past 5 years, he believed that he had been speaking to me. Every photograph Maggie had ever sent him was actually a photograph of me. He opened his phone and showed me years of messages. There were dozens of pictures of me saved on it. Pictures she must have taken from my accounts or directly from my phone. I showed him actual pictures of Maggie, and he became increasingly angry as he realized the scale of what had just happened. Initially, I suggested that we call Maggie and tell her that he was there. The moment I contacted her, she completely panicked. She said that she was not coming home and told Adam to leave and refused to speak to him. Adam even called her himself, and they started shouting at one another over the phone. Eventually, after everybody had calmed down slightly, she agreed to come back. The three of us sat inside the apartment. Adam was devastated, Maggie was crying, and I was sitting between them with absolutely no idea what I was supposed to do. Maggie told Adam that she was still the same person he had been speaking to for 5 years. She argued that the emotional connection between them was real, even if the pictures weren't. Adam shouted back that she had thought she had been in love with her roommate. That completely broke her. I suggested that Adam leave for the night so that everybody could have some space. After he left, Maggie turned on me. She started throwing things around the living room, telling me that she hated me, and behaving as though I had somehow ruined her relationship. This is the bit that I just don't understand. Summer has literally done nothing. Maggie stole her face, sent it to a man, and for 5 years pretended she was in a relationship with her, but using Summer's face, and then got angry when Summer continued to live in her own apartment. I left and stayed with another friend because I no longer felt comfortable being around her. A little later, I called Adam because I needed to understand exactly which pictures he had received. The conversation somehow made everything worse. Maggie had sent him photographs of me in my underwear. She had also sent him explicit pictures that were not even of me or Maggie. We assumed she had found those somewhere online and then pretended they were mine. Adam explained that they had occasionally video called, but Maggie would never show her face. She would only allow him to see him from the top of her head and her hair. She had even dyed her hair a similar colour to mine. Whenever he questioned why she would not appear properly on camera, she claimed she felt unattractive, did not have makeup on, or was too insecure to let him see her. He had attempted to arrange several meetings over the years, but every time he made a serious plan, she found a reason to cancel. Adam decided that he was finished with the relationship, although he wanted to contact her one final time to understand why she had done it. As for me, I decided to move out. I was not sure whether I could immediately escape the lease, so I arranged to stay with another friend until it had ended. When I briefly returned to the apartment, Maggie gave me what I felt like was half an apology, but she was still hostile and defensive. I felt sorry for her, because clearly there was something much deeper happening, but I also did not think our friendship could survive. Honestly, I don't think it should survive. This wasn't sort of one impulsive lie. She maintained it every single day, under your nose, for 5 years. She watched her roommate comfort her, stole increasingly private pictures from her, and shaped the whole appearance around the person she was impersonating, who was also her best friend and roommate. Adam was obviously a victim in this, but Summer was violated in an entirely different way. Imagine discovering that a stranger has spent 5 years believing he knows you intimately, while your closest friend has been controlling this fake version of your life. I don't think there's really a satisfying ending here. Adam loses the woman that he believed existed, Summer loses her best friend, and Maggie destroyed 2 relationships because she sort of refused to reveal who she actually was. It's just a sad ending. So this post comes from r/what should I do? The title is, my friend secretly tested my wife's loyalty, and she failed. I'm 35 and have been with my wife for 10 years. We've been married for 6. She has a 15-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Her biological father has never really been involved, so I raised her and considered her my daughter. Until recently, I thought our family was extremely happy. We both worked, we had a comfortable life, travelled regularly, and had no major financial or relationship problems. There was plenty of affection between us, and I genuinely believed we would remain together permanently. I also have a close friend who is 36. Last year, his wife left him under horrific circumstances. Since then, he has become intensely bitter and regularly tells everybody that all women are the same. Then last week, he sent more than 100 screenshots. He had bought another phone and started messaging my wife from a new number. He pretended to be a man who had accidentally contacted the wrong person. He also used photographs stolen from somebody else's social media account. The messages began in November. Within 1 week, my wife was sending the supposed stranger intimate photographs and sexual messages. By Christmas, she was telling him that she loved him. The final photograph showed her entering a hotel where she believed she was about to meet him. She then sent angry messages asking why he had not arrived. I mean, there's failing a loyalty test, and there's independently making a conscious decision to travel to a hotel to meet somebody. I mean, and at that point, it's not just a vague, flirty conversation that's sort of been taken out of context. She's packed her bag and physically arrived at the final destination to cheat. I went to my friend's house, completely distraught. He had then told me he had performed the same test on partners of 6 other friends. My wife apparently was the only one who had failed. While I was sitting there, she was still messaging the fake number. Even though he had ignored her for days, she was still saying that she missed him, asking why he had disappeared. I went home and confronted her with the screenshots. She immediately started crying. She said she did not know why she had done it. According to her, it began as harmless entertainment while she was bored at work. And then she became emotionally involved. She told me she felt as though she loved both of us and did not want to lose me. I'm sorry, what? She's telling her husband that she loves both of them, and one of them is literally his friend on a burner phone using somebody else's pictures. That's just insane to me. Ignoring the fact that this man doesn't even exist, it only took her a few weeks to start sending intimate photos and saying that she loved a complete stranger online after being with her husband for 10 years. I genuinely don't know what explanation she thought could make any of that sound better. I left and checked into a hotel. The strangest part was that I did not really miss my wife. I missed my stepdaughter. I missed watching those stupid cartoons with her, sending each other memes, cooking together, and behaving like idiots around the house. Some friends said that I should not be angry with the man who performed the test because he had exposed the truth. But I felt betrayed by both of them. A few days later, I posted an update. Some people had argued that my wife had never technically cheated because the man was fictional, but she travelled to a hotel intending to sleep with him. She had deliberately been withholding intimacy from me because she was saving herself for this meeting. Even after she had been abandoned at the hotel, she continued sending him photographs and messages saying that she wanted him. The fact that the person was fake did not change her intentions. I mean, exactly. The fact that the person was fake did not change her intentions at all. You don't just get loyalty points because the person you tried to cheat with happened to be your husband's friend using the account. She did everything required to cheat. She was prepared to cheat. She was going to cheat. She was only unsuccessful because the partner was fictional. The intentions in this case were just completely real, and so were the decisions she made to deceive her husband. Bet you were wondering, who was the fake man? Well, it's time to see. I should also clarify that my friend was not using pictures of himself. He had stolen photographs from a completely different man, an adult performer, and built the fake identity around them. My friend and the man in the photographs look absolutely nothing alike. My priority was speaking to my daughter. We met in a park, and the moment we saw each other, we both started crying. We hugged for several minutes because I was terrified this might be the last time I could be her father. She asked what had happened. Because she was 15, I decided not to lie, although I left out the explicit details. I explained that her mother had entered an online relationship with somebody and had told that person she loved him. My daughter said that her mother had claimed she was merely messaging an old friend and that I had become irrationally jealous. Her aunt had already told her that her mother had cheated and that I had done nothing wrong. I had hundreds of screenshots, but I refused to show her most of them. I found one that was not sexual. In the message, her mother said that she felt more love for the stranger after 10 weeks than she had ever felt for me after 10 years. My daughter looked at this and just said, "Oh my god." It's crazy to me that the mother had already started sort of rewriting what happened and showing the daughter and blaming him. I think in some situations, showing a child sort of evidence against their own parent is normally something to avoid. But in this case, the mother had already started rewriting what happened and blaming him. Imagine raising someone's daughter for 10 years, only to learn that your wife told a stranger she felt more for him after 10 weeks than she felt for you after a decade. We talked for several hours. She said that even if I divorced her mother, I would always be her dad. She had actually been worried that I would no longer want her. Both encouraged her to remain in contact with me. Since then, we have been sending each other videos constantly, and our grandmother has offered us her kitchen so we can continue baking together. I told my wife I wanted a divorce. She had responded with endless calls and messages which I ignored. I also told my friend that I wanted very little contact with him. I asked why he continued the fake relationship after my wife sent the first intimate pictures. Surely that already proved what he wanted to prove. His answer was that I was not a jealous person, and he assumed I might find the situation funny. I'm sorry, but let me know what you guys think. I also think the friend is a bit in the wrong here. No normal person spends months romantically manipulating their friend's wife because they eventually think it will be funny. He could have stopped after the first few messages, and he could have shown his friend the moment she sent the first intimate photograph. Instead, he just continued the whole thing, escalating the relationship and encouraging her until she arrived at a hotel. And that goes a bit beyond just exposing someone. He knew my wife was insecure about being tall and having an athletic build, so his fake character repeatedly described tall, strong women as his ideal type. He had deliberately constructed a person designed to target exactly what she felt insecure about. At the same time, my wife worked as a police detective investigating corruption. She should have been especially capable of noticing that a stranger contacting the wrong number and immediately complimenting all her precise insecurities might not be genuine. When I confronted her about it, she panicked, called herself stupid, and then claimed that because the man never existed, the affair should not count. I told her it absolutely counted. I'm sorry, let's be real. The wife is entirely responsible for just destroying the whole marriage. She chose to send the messages, the photos, the confessions of love. She chose to lie to her husband and then withhold intimacy from him and travel to a hotel to meet another man. But I don't really think the friend is some sort of hero who just exposed her. He carried out a months-long psychological experiment on 6 different women because his own marriage had made him a bit bitter. It seems like he just wanted somebody to fail because it would validate his own belief that every single woman was the same. But I guess there is one good ending in this story, and that's that the fact that the daughter did not lose her father. Okay, let's do a quick check of what we've managed to get done today. I mean, it's not bad. No, I actually really like it. Especially in the night when you can see the lights from the flowers. I think it looks amazing. I mean, if you guys have suggestions of what I can add to my world, let me know in the comments. And, well, I guess thank you guys for watching the whole video. Thank you for watching it to the end. This is my first, so please let me know if there's anything you could think I can improve on. And as I've said before, I would love to do a video with some viewer confessions or crazy stories. So if you have any and you'd like to email them to me, please email them to me at turkeyworkyconfessions@gmail.com. And yeah, thanks guys.